In today's video, we'll be looking the length of the coastline of India, which according to the recent circular from the Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways Transport Research Wing, dated 29th April 2025, that the length increased from 7,517 kilometers to 11,099 kilometers, right? For a long time, if you would have looked into the Ministry of Home Affairs or any other government websites or the study material, you would have seen that the total coastline was considered as 7,517 kilometers, spread across 9 states and 4 union territories in India. But the different government departments were using different figures for the coastline, and that issue was examined by the Department of the Border Management, Ministry of Home Affairs in 2019, and then they learned that the Coastal Protection Development Advisory Committee has been deliberating on this issue for several years, since 2010, and then in this end, the Coastal Protection Development Advisory Committee accepted the new length of the coastline of India, which was computed by National Hydrographic Organization in Dehradun as 11,084 kilometer. Length of the coastline had a concurrence of all the states, all the coastal states and the Union Territory. Ministry of Home Affairs requested the Survey of India to publish notification in this regard, right? So the length of the coastline of India with respect to the accepted methodology was selected, and then the finalization of the term of reference for standardization of maritime parameters have been issued. Now, in 2023, National Security Council Secretariat, New Delhi, has updated the term of reference, and which was accepted unanimously from the stakeholders across the different central and the state government agencies or the bodies. And finally, a new term of reference for measuring the re-verified length of the coastline, which is 11,099 kilometers, were mentioned, right? So if we look across the 9 states and the 4 union territories, we have an increase of overall around 48% of coastline length of India, with a stark increase in West Bengal from 157 to 721 kilometer, which is almost 357% increase, and followed by in Gujarat, where 1214 increased to 2340 kilometer, that is almost 93%, and almost in all the states, ranging from 5% to 8% to 35% increase have been observed, right? In the island, the significant increase have happened in Andaman and Nicobar, where 1962 kilometer was recorded earlier, but now it increased to 3084 kilometers. So again, an increase of almost 60%. Very few of the important points which we have to consider in the recent coastline measurement. One is that the length of the length is measured at the high water line. In order to understand what is high water line, I have indicated one image here where you can see that highest tide point is given. So that is the highest high water line, which was again taken from the electronic navigation chart, which is prepared by the National Hydrographic Office. Determine the projection of the coastline length is WGS 84 and the respective UTM zone. What is WGS 84? It's a globally used coordinated system and the geodetic datum for the Earth's surface, standard for the GPS and widely used in the cartography, geodesy, and the navigation. And WGS 84 defines an Earth-centered, Earth-fixed coordinated system, providing a consistent reference for the geospatial information. And the UTM is a universal transverse Mercator system, which divides the world into 60 zones and each spanning 6 degrees of longitude, and India's UTM ranges from 42 to 47. The scale in the current measurement is used or generalized to 1:250,000 or lesser, and the mouth of the river, creeks, estuaries, backwater has been closed at a suitable place. Just to give you the idea that what does it mean, I have given you one image here, which indicates estuary. And suppose if this is the mouth, this is being covered and then used for the calculation of the coastline. Similarly, in the low tide time, the exposure of the path which connects an island to the mainland has also been included in the coastline measurement, right? And it has been proposed that the length of the coastline has to be reviewed in a cycle of 10 years with a newer data set. So why the length has varied from the previous measurement to the current measurement? Most probably it's because of the variation in the scale. There is a coastline paradox which says that if you increase the scale of the measurement, then the length of the coastline increases, mostly because it can capture more intricate details like the bay inlets, etc., and thereby increasing the length of the coastline. Second is also because of the calculation method. Somewhere in 1970s, when the measurement has happened earlier, at that time we did not have the availability of the modern GIS software, and it was mostly done in a conventional and the manual method, whereas now we have a modern GIS softwares, right? Offshore islands were added in the total length, which may have been left earlier in the earlier measurements, and similarly at the same time peripheral coastline of the individual coastal offshore islands have been used for the calculation of the coastline, right? So these are some of the reasons why, some of the main reasons why the length has varied. Now we know close to 48% increase from 7,517 to 11,099 kilometer Indian coastline. So the information has been procured from the circulars of Government of India. Thank you. Thanks a lot.